today for the bird sit, we're going to be going into a practice that is, yeah, I think this will be one of the, like a deep one, connected to sort of our felt sense of things. And the story that's most connected to this for me is, I think I've shared this with some of you before, and but in case I haven't, a couple years ago, I was in my backyard, actually my neighbor's yard, probably gathering some berries or something like that. She has berries in her yard, and we were chatting, and I was gathering some berries. And I was walking up, I have a small little hill, up to my house. And so I was walking up the little hill. And as I'm walking, I'm not really thinking much. I was probably eating a berry or two, and didn't have much in my mind. But all of a sudden, I just ducked. And I don't know why I did it, but I just ducked. And then the second later, this hawk flew right over my head and then like kind of up and away. And I was just like, whoa, like my body knew to do, I was obviously behind me, right? So the bird was behind me, and something in me picked up that I needed to duck. And I don't know what that was. And so ever since then, it's just made me very curious, like what part of my experience keyed into that? Like what part of me picked up on the fact that I needed to react or respond, or whichever one it was. And so I'm constantly playing with that and sort of trying to develop that skill, that ability to perceive and to know what's happening around us and when something changes. I think that's a really important question to ask ourselves. Like, how did we know that that thing was about to happen? Like, what was it that shifted or changed? Was it a feeling? Was it a sound? Was it a smell? Like, what are we picking up on? And obviously this practice, the practice of a sit spot, is something that does develop that skill. But today we're going to focus a little bit more specifically on knowing when something changes. So get ourselves nice and comfy. And we're going to do partially eyes open, then we're going to do eyes closed, then eyes open again. So again, those are always just invitations. You don't have to engage in that way, but you're welcome to. So let's just let ourselves feel our bodies right now. Feeling your body in the chair you're sitting in, or whatever you might be sitting in. And for this practice, I'm not sure, some of you may already be doing this, but if you could sit up during this practice, and I'm not going to be checking on anyone if they are or aren't, but just for the sake of being really attuned and aware, sometimes it's good to just sit kind of with your back away from the chair even, because sometimes when we lean up against the back, we can disconnect from our awareness. So if you sit forward a little bit and just remove your back from the back of the chair and allow yourself to sit up. If you need the back support, that's fine. Again, this is all just an invitation, and different parts of it will work for you and different parts won't. So sit up as tall as you can and just being connected to your own physical experience right now in this moment. Being aware of what part of your body is feeling a little crotchety right now, maybe a little grumpy. What part of your body is feeling open and excited and flowing? And what other experiences you might be having right now inside your body. And then if in the process of tapping into your physical experience, you became aware of something you might want to shift, like your posture or your breath, you can do that now. And so you can send your eyes off in the distance, and pretty sure everyone here is old school with me, so you know the drill around owl eyes. So let yourself just settle into owl eyes, focusing on that one point and then softening your vision all around, getting really nice and soft. And don't fight it if your eyes suddenly become blurry. That's actually a good thing for this practice. And while you're letting yourself just engage in the gentleness of owl eyes, feeling your own breath rising and falling, acknowledging your connection to the earth, your connection to the chair you're sitting on, your connection to your own environment right now, the environment that's around you. And now shifting your awareness to your ears and just listen for what is baseline. So by baseline, I just mean kind of status quo. What is status quo right now on your landscape? And maybe it's not. Maybe something is happening, something stirred things up, and it's different from the way it normally is. So just be aware of what the baseline is in this moment right now. So every place, every time of day, every particular day has a unique baseline to it. So think about morning time on Sundays at your house. If you were to step outside, what would baseline sound like on a Sunday morning at your house? And then compare that to what a baseline sounds like on Monday morning at your house outside. What kinds of sounds are different? What scents might be different in your environment? And then even thinking about the rest of the week. You can think about Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Each morning might be a little different based on the particular behaviors of the humans and the animals in your environment. So right now, on this Monday morning or Monday evening, for some of us, just tapping into what is the status quo, what is the normal goings on at your place. And for the first part of this exercise in knowing how to tap into when something changes, we're going to start with our eyes open. So I want you just to get yourself comfortable in your owl eyes. Let yourself just settle in there, still with your nice upright posture. And so what I want you to do is imagine that you could feel with your eyes and your ears and your body. I know most of us are used to feeling with our bodies, right? But imagine that you could feel with your ears or feel with your eyes. So I want you just to allow yourself to feel onto the landscape and notice when you become aware of something changing. So you're attuned to what is baseline right now. And then I want you just to become aware when something changes. And for some of you, you might not become aware of the change until the change happens, and that's fine. But just test yourself. The next couple minutes, we're going to stay in silence and we're just going to play with this, noticing when something changes. So part of this awareness necessitates that our mind is quiet. And it's okay if you have thoughts that busy your mind right now. I'm just going to do our best to clear those thoughts. Let yourself know that all you have to do right now is just to be here, be present, and just feel. Just allowing yourself to take stock and noticing if it's your eyes that are telling you when something changes, if it's your ears, or if it's your body, your physical sensation inside your body. Okay, good work. So now we're going to shift and still stay in this nice quiet place. But for those who feel safe and comfortable, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for this next portion. We'll remove one of our senses and allow the other senses of our physical experience to do the feeling right now. So our ears and our body. You can go ahead and close your eyes now, and I'll let you know when to open them. So something you can play with right now is, with your eyes still closed, I said, that imagining that your ears had hands, for instance. And if you've ever been like walking around in the dark and you're trying to feel your way, pretend that you're doing that right now with your ears, that your sense of hearing is exploring the landscape right now. And you're just slowly feeling your way around the landscape and listening for any subtle shifts or changes. So we're going to play with one level deeper. I hadn't thought we were going to do this, but I think it'll be a fun experiment. So with your eyes still closed, and again, if you feel like you're in a safe place, you can do this. If not, just keep your eyes closed for a little bit longer. But what I'll invite you to do is to block your ears. So we'll do that. I know people will be like, well, how will I know when you're done? Just imagine what like a minute is. So we're just going to do that for 1 minute. And just, I want you to block your ears so that all we have is the sensations in our physical body. And just see if your physical body can tell you when something changes in the environment. So you can go ahead now and start blocking your ears and just imagine about 1 minute. Okay, good work. See if you can feel me or hear. Yeah, some of you can hear me now. So you can take your hands away from your ears if you want to. And just start to listen again. And then gently, when you're ready, let yourself open your eyes. And now we're just going to do the practice for a couple more minutes with our eyes open, our ears open. Just noticing the difference from when we first started. So now, even though your eyes are open, see how much you can allow your body to sense the changes, meaning not just through your ears and your eyes, but the felt sense around you. And for the last minute or so, be mindful of becoming aware of what is behind you. So sometimes some of us are either very heightened to our surroundings behind us, and others aren't as attuned to that. So with some intention now, I want you to feel into what some people call your back body. Good work. So take the next couple minutes and offer gratitude or appreciation in your own way to those ones that you had some kind of a connection or relationship with today. All right. Thank you, everybody. So if you need to head out, you can go for it. And if you'd like to stay for the chat, then you're welcome to as well. So I'd love to hear what that was like for people. What did you perceive? What did you pick up on? What were you aware of? Yeah, just go ahead and wave your hand and I'll call on you. All right, Claudia, go for it.
One of the things that surprised me was that within that short time, how much the movement of the air changed. There were a couple of times when the breeze got a little bit stiff and then it would die down, and sometimes actually it was coming from one direction and sometimes from another and kind of swirling around. And the clouds were moving quite a bit. And so even when my eyes were closed, I could kind of tell what was going on with them because of the area of the sun where I'd feel the sun more when the clouds would move. But there was just a lot going on just in that feeling of touch,
Yeah. Where in your body did you feel the wind?
mainly on my face and arms.
Your face and arms. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's excellent. I know that feeling. I can feel that myself right now, that feeling of like if you're outside and you're laying in the sun, all of a sudden a cloud comes over and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, where'd it go? It's like that. It's a real clear felt sense. Yeah. Wow, that's so cool too. I mean, how many times a day does the wind change or the breeze subtly moves and we don't really consciously, we're not consciously attuned to it. And so it's really, I think, can be profound to just spend a few moments and start having that relationship with the wind, you know? Yeah, that's so cool, Claudia. Yeah, thank you. Kathy, go for it.
I'm being brave here. I hardly ever talk. But I think what I really noticed or acknowledged was how busy nature is. Like when I really stilled myself all the way around, I could hear everything so profound. It just, I mean, from the tiniest little buzz of a bee or a fly to the propeller of a plane. And again, feeling those breezes coming across my face, my arms, and how it would get warm, then cool. But I think that clarity that came that was just everywhere once I was completely stilled um, really was quite profound for me. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all this going on. So, yeah, it was a smorgasbord of feeling, I guess.
Oh, it is, I think, and sometimes, you know, at least us as modern humans, we do a lot to kind of numb ourselves from some of these subtle experiences in the world, and we've spent a lifetime doing that, you know, and because it can be overwhelming to start to feel all of that again, you know, and so it's nice to take it in small doses like this. But it is a beautiful thing to tap back into, you know, to not let ourselves spend our whole lives disconnected from that, the magic and the wonder that's possible there, you know. So what way to go, Kathy. Yeah, thanks for diving in and just, you know, exploring it that way.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Yeah, Claudia, go for it, please.
Okay, I just have to tell you about something else. Partway through our sit, my neighbor, my back fence neighbor, started up a weed whacker. It's a really loud one. And I just, first I was feeling kind of irritated because it made it hard to listen and even to hear you when you were speaking. And so I had to move my computer closer to my ears. But I decided I would be playful as you'd taught us in the past. And so I was imagining it was some kind of an animal trying to chaw down on things. So you could hear when it was hitting harder things. And so that's what I did. And it made it not quite so bad.
That
And I
is so cool. Go ahead,
and
sorry.
I was trying to tell exactly where in his lawn in his yard he was without seeing him. And I could, I could pretty well tell just where he was around his house. So it worked out.
That is such a fun game. I love doing stuff like that. If you like can't see the thing, but you're just like, right, where would it be right now? And what, oh yeah, I hear that like, you know, it just grabs something tough or it's probably over in like the weeds over there and whatever. And that is really fun. Way to go on that, Claudia, because yeah, that could, I know that feeling of just being like, are you serious? Come on, I'm doing a bird sit right now.
Really?
Can you just wait a little while for that weed whacker? But yeah, I mean, anything can be you can play this game with. So that's awesome. Thank you. I know for me this one of the first things I noticed because I'm inside right now and so shut off from sort of the nature sounds anyway, but I saw this light kind of shine across my wall over there, and I could tell that a car had just pulled in the driveway. My neighbor and I share a driveway, and so I could see the car, and I could see there was like actually multiple lights kind of shimmering and flat, and then I could see some motion over on the left, and I thought I think there's more than one car actually. Usually it's just like one person's car comes in and one person leaves, you know. But I actually ended up looking and I was like, oh no, there's two cars. One of them backed up, the other one pulled in, and like they happened at the same time, you know, and it was just kind of neat to start to like perceive just from the reflection on the wall and a little bit of data from the left over there. But also then I asked myself, I was like, I wonder if I could have, or maybe I did perceive the car arriving before having to see the reflection of it. Like I should probably be able to hear the car coming down my driveway, and I didn't. I don't think I did anyway. And so that's just it's a good awareness for me. You know, I like to push myself always and like trying to like see where my edges are. And so I'm good at perceiving with my eyes, like the things that happen in my peripheral vision, but the sound sometimes, like I was out the other morning, and sometimes I'll turn on Merlin, but I won't look at it until I leave, just to see, be like, oh, what did Merlin pick up that I might have missed. And so I was reviewing one of like the, Merlin data reports or whatever, and I was looking at it and it said turkey. And I was like, turkey? I'm like, when was there a turkey? And you can press the turkey and it'll take you back in the recording to right where it was. And I listened and it was just one like, bloop. That's all it was. That's all it picked up on, was like, bloop. And I'm like, that was definitely a turkey. And I'm like, I was sitting by this beach. It was quiet. No one else was there. And there was woods behind me, like this little forest. And I'm sure it was probably like up there in the forest behind me. And I missed it. And I was just like, ooh, that would have been really cool. I wonder what I know I was really focused on some of the birds, like this one shorebird I was trying to watch, and just what happens to us when we give so much of our attention in front, to our eyes, and we are not necessarily aware of what's happening behind us. And so I do my best to key into the alarms, but even just that subtle sound of the fact that there was a turkey walking somewhere not too far from me was pretty cool to think about. And also like I was like, oh, darn it, I missed it, And so, yeah, but that's again, a good lesson for me to be like, all right, like pay attention to what's happening behind me while I'm giving my attention to what's in front of me, Yeah. Della, did you want to say something? I noticed that you.
Sure. Yeah. I have a question. And do birds have fire drills? It's like, and during the
I think oh no, you broke up, Della.
commotion, and then
Della?
everybody, yes, did
You,
I?
Yeah, you cut out for like the
Okay,
first part of the
right.
story, so we missed that first part.
Okay, so I hear the little pip 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 over here, quickening of the sound, and then the mourning doves take off with a commotion, and then some of the birds just stay where they are, like the juncos, and then everybody goes back to normal again, and it's like, oh, it was just a drill. Remember a fire drill when everybody says, it's just a drill. Yeah.
Drill. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? What's your sense?
I don't know. Some birds are more sensitive than others. Some perceive more danger. I don't know. And is it a false alarm? It's a mystery.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it'd be cool to keep tapping into that. My sense is that it has a little bit more to do with the false alarm. And you're right, doves are very skittish. Like you just, kind of half glance at them and they're like, ah, they fly away. And other birds you could like be 2 feet away from staring at them like a chickadee sometimes. And they're going to they're just going to yell at you maybe, but they're going to keep doing their thing. So, yeah, when you mentioned the fact that it was a dove and who else, a finch, what was the first one?
Well, I didn't know what was doing the pip 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 over here, but I had juncos and house finches at the feeder, and they didn't budge.
Yeah, yeah. So that's always good to key into, and different birds, again, there might be like the ground birds versus the birds that are up high and what might be happening. And I feel like for most instances, like the birds don't lie. They're not going to just pretend, like other than like a crow who's playing, most birds react because they need to react, like something keyed them off, and they're not always right about it. Like it might be like during a windstorm, I find that all the time, that like a leaf will blow or like a stick will drop from the tree and they're like, ah, what just happened, and so it's not always danger. It might be something that startles them sort of unexpectedly, or maybe one bird like comes in sooner than they were like, so but they are always responding to something that they think is real, yeah, that's my sense of it anyway. But it'd be cool to see what you start to discover with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Linda, go for it. Yeah. Oh, Linda, I think you're muted still. We still got you muted. I'm going to try and click the button there.
Can you hear me now?
You're great. Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. For me, it was kind of interesting. It's very noisy around here today. Our neighbors sold some land and the people have decided to build their house right in the middle of fire season. So it always makes me really anxious to hear all that heavy equipment operating when we're in the middle of fire, all these fire restrictions. But anyway, and there's a lot of birds around, and another neighbor was mowing the lawn. But after I closed my eyes and blocked my ears, when I did both at the same time, and then when I stopped doing it, it was just like all that stuff just faded away, although it was still going on. And I could really focus on there's some Canadian red cherry berries right in front of me here. And the leaves are kind of a reddish, it's a domestic Canadian red cherry. The leaves are kind of reddish and the berries are so beautiful. And there were wasps, and usually I would move away if there were wasps, but I was watching them. And then all the birds. I mean, I felt like I created this little island of where I could see so much better and hear so much better after I had blocked everything. And then I released, it was just kind of like I created this little piece of paradise or something. I don't know.
Wow.
It was interesting how much more I could see and hear when I did that, and feel. I noticed with the wind that, well, it was just a light breeze, and some of it was moving through the middle part of the trees. There's aspen trees right in front of me. You could see it moving through the middle part. The bottom part wasn't moving, and the top of the trees weren't moving, just moving in that mid-range there. And then it would shift, and then the top would start to move along with the middle, but the bottom wasn't. And then the bottom would move, but it would stop in the middle. And it was just,
Oh.
it was very, very cool to watch there for a while. It was like this little wonderful piece of paradise here or something. I don't know.
It sounds kind of similar to what Claudia was saying, and just like the different layers of the wind that you were perceiving and picking up on. And sometimes I like to, because I think it's good to just sort of shift ourselves out of our own status quo. And by closing our ears or closing our eyes, that can be a really quick, we only closed our ears for a minute. Isn't that cool? Like it was just a minute that we did that for, that has the potential to change everything for you. And sometimes I haven't done this in a while, but I have those, like the ear things they have for like when you have a chainsaw or something like that. Like I have some, sometimes I wear it when I have my blender on, because the blender's like so loud. My ears are really sensitive. And so like I'll put my little, like those things on my ears. And it's kind of cool. Like if once the blender stops, I'll just sort of like be attuned to the sounds, and then take the ear things off and be like, wow, there's so much sound around. And so it can be fun if you do feel like you're really in a safe place, if you have any of those, or even the little ones you can like stick in your ear, like little foam ones. But spend like a half an hour walking around or doing something in your yard with those on, or the little fuzzy things in, and then take them out, and then just see what you start to experience. Because that we used to play those games when I would work for the Wilderness Awareness School. My old boyfriend and I, from years ago, we were both instructors, and sometimes we would sort of like, when we would come home, we would like test ourselves, our skills and everything. And so together, like with a partner, this is fun, like a friend or a partner, whatever, where one of you can be blindfolded and you go around for like a half an hour, and like the other person helps guide you, make sure you're not going to like fall off a cliff or into the road or anything like that. And you're just allowed to kind of walk around blindfolded for like, even just 10 minutes could be enough, and then also the same thing with like the ear things on, that like there's someone else around that will just sort of keep their ears attuned to anything else happening. And you can just fully be in that experience of really blocking the sounds out. It can be really profound.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to hear your story from earlier, Linda. I just want to see if anyone else has a reflection they want to share from today first. Let's see, Claudia, I have to leave. Thank you so much. Oh, for sure. Thanks for coming, Claudia. Yeah. Yeah, Linda, go for it. Share your story from earlier.
It's actually not a story about what I saw. It was just when you all were talking about the chimney swifts, which we don't have here, but apparently I went to an Audubon talk a couple of weeks ago, and we have black swifts in Glacier National Park. They're not usually found in the valley here, but they're in the park, and they're just amazing birds. There's I guess the highest concentration at least in this part of the world, are in Glacier Park here. So people come and study them, but they only nest behind falling water in the remote areas of Glacier, and as the instructor put it, in prime grizzly habitat. So you got to be careful. But they only have one chick per year. They only feed that chick one time a day, and that's in the evening hours, like the crepuscular time.
Yeah.
Before it's completely dark, but it's not light anymore, it's dusky. They only feed them once, and then when the chick reaches fledgling stage, they fledge, and the research is showing they don't do any flights around where they are. They take off right away to migrate all the way to Brazil, just as a fledgling. They just go. Isn't that incredible? And they're trying to figure out if they go with their parents or not. They don't know yet. The research is real sketchy. But it was just like, wow, what an interesting bird. I had never heard of them before. And so very few people have seen them. I've never seen one. I didn't even know they existed. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Swifts are pretty amazing birds.
They are. That I didn't realize all that information about them. We actually had some black swifts. I didn't say we, but where I lived in Colorado, there was a mountain town not too far away, maybe 30 minutes away, called Silverton. And in Silverton, if you go up one of these mountains behind the waterfalls, it's one of the black swift colonies there. And you could go in, and there's this one woman who's been studying them for like 20 years. She's just like, this is her world, are these black swifts. And I never learned too much about them. I never actually got to see them while I was out there. But yeah, they seem super fascinating. What the story you just told about them taking off and just flying right away, it reminds me of the albatross. I don't know if anyone's ever watched like the videos of the young albatross, but before it takes its first flight, it does like, like the wind will be blowing and it kind of pretends to fly on the edge of the cliff while the wind's blowing, and it's sort of building the strength up through those like pretend flights, but then the moment it takes its first flight, it's gone at that point. Like the albatross just like flies away and leaves the nest area. And I thought that was pretty also like really profound to think like, wow, granted, even though it's like practicing and like trying to fly and stuff, it still like hasn't ever flown yet, and to think that it's just going to go and like, it's kind of, I don't know if anyone has a memory of like the first time you ever rode a bike without training wheels. You just kind of have to go and you can't stop, you just like, all right, I'm doing this. Like if you stop right away, you just like would crash, but you have to at least get like some distance, and just be like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm running.
Yeah, you have to fall to stop. I hope the birds don't have to do that.
Oh no, I know. Yeah. Julia, I see your hand is up. Thank you for that, Linda. I love that.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it, Julia. Oh, you have to go. You're waving goodbye. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I love the stories and the follow-ups too. That's always really helpful and sweet to hear. So anytime you want to follow up with us about a story that you brought from the past, then please do so. And thanks for playing today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Good to see you
Kristi.
all.
Bye.
All right. Have a
Bye.
beautiful week.
And
You
you.
too.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.